All right. Guys, it's so great to see you both here. This is a fantastic gathering of two podcasts. We've got
The first collab episode. Yeah, yeah.
First Collab. I love it. You've got, the amazing Christian Dyer here from The Chase, professional rugby player, young entrepreneur, doing great things out there in the market. Love it. Patrick Blute, my wonderful co-host that we get together on this podcast, mate, Talent Without Limits through MitchelLake, so often meeting amazing people. And what makes this so special, this podcast, is that, Pat, I think what be a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
Christian, that you and I met, I think,
Yep.
and was just blown away and we never bring age into it, but what you've achieved before hitting 30, I should say, is amazing. Your
I
drive, your
appreciate that.
tenacity, your resilience, all of that, which is now pushing you forward into so many amazing phases and stages of your life. And Pat, what I loved when I first met Christian was we were like, man, we've got to put this together and come together. And
Oh, yeah.
this is just makes such a fun collab podcast.
Yep. Yep. And I'm still half a decade away from 30, so I still got some time. But
The milestone, they're adding up. They're adding up.
what was so cool is just the synergies and how funny and small the world is. I mean, you just get connected with people who are on similar paths, similar trajectories. And one of the coolest things in life is just adding like-minded people into your circle. And I found that with you two, and I'm grateful for that. And today's conversation is going to be epic.
100%. Okay, Christian, let's jump into it. Yep. You are a rugby star. I think like you've played all over the world. You've got this great camaraderie, team focused mindset. And I know rugby's a little bit new in the American market. So would love to just like learn more. What's your experience been like and what's it like playing in the US?
Growing up, I was bouncing around sport to sport. I mean, I played every sport that you could think of. The fall was always football. So I started playing football when I was probably 8 or 9. We call it Pop Warner. And then in the spring, winter months, I was bouncing around, whether it's basketball, baseball, soccer. I tried lacrosse, and nothing stuck. And it wasn't until my 6th grade year where a family friend told my dad, Ken, he's like, hey, Ken, bring your boy out. Bring Christian out to rugby practice. Let him run around with the boys and give it a go. And sure enough, I did. And I really, really enjoyed the sport. I don't know if I fell in love with it then, but I enjoyed it. I love the fact that I could tackle people, run around, and I had a good group of friends there. But I wasn't that good to begin with. I mean, I'm being completely honest. If you look at where I'm at now and where I started, you never would have. There was no connection. But fast forward to high school, private boys' school, Jesuit high school, has a rich tradition in rugby, and so I just continued playing, and I was submersed in an environment that just bred high caliber rugby players, and I wanted to be a part of that, and I wanted to continue the legacy of producing Cal rugby players and USA rugby players, and it wasn't until sophomore year, the summer going into junior year, where I made the U16 USA team, traveled over to London as a junior, and that just opened my eyes to a different world. And it showed me that I could play rugby internationally, represent my country, and potentially make money doing this thing. And so that's when I really bought into it. And I was like, let's take this as far as I can go. Originally, I was going to go into one of the military academies, but once I found rugby, once I realized the potential, that trajectory changed. Figured out, all right, where can I couple the best academic school with, the highest rugby, I guess, like talent school, and that was UC Berkeley. And fortunately, I was in the right position to continue playing. And 4 years later, I'm now playing professionally and internationally, traveling the world game by game, country by country, and I can genuinely say I'm living my dream.
Phenomenal.
Is that awesome?
That's the so. Let's talk about that too, because I love your vulnerability and openness with where you started was not where you are today.
Oh,
I think we definitely live in a world where LinkedIn, social media, these places, we're only talking about highlights, wins, big moments. So what's it like on that end to grind through something where it's like you might not be starting where you'd like to be in the future, but like how do you keep that grit and that determination going?
Yeah, it's funny because back then I was so driven by the fear of failure.
Mm,
I mean, the last thing I wanted to do was to be on the losing end, or to not be picked for a side, or to not get into the university that I kept telling people I wanted to go to, and that kept me up late at night. That kept me in on the weekends when I could have been out partying, having fun. I'm probably going to be in the gym on Friday night like a weirdo. But I was so scared to not achieve what I wanted to achieve. That drove me the extra mile every single year. And then it wasn't until probably 20 2020 2021 where the fear of failure became kind of non-existent. And I even worked with a
mm,
sports psychologist on that aspect. But now it's about, I'm driven by chasing a dream. I'm driven by the
yeah.
possibility that I could do something incredible, that I could change the world, and more importantly, that I could hopefully inspire someone else to go live the life they keep telling themselves they want to live. And so this whole growth mindset piece, which Michael and I have touched on before, is such a prevalent, factor in my life, that where I'm at today is not going to be where I'm at in 1 week, 3 months, 1 year. I know that. So as long as I can stay present and focused day to day, making small wins, these micro wins, I'm not worried about the outcome.
Yeah. You know, words like growth mindset, being thrown out there left, right, and center, right? And what happens very quickly is they just become words.
Mm.
But this is one thing that you and I talked about, and we even touched on this earlier, is that growth mindset, high performance, pushing capacity, all these words. It's more than that, isn't it, mate? To you, I think one comment you made, it's actually a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can you run through that a bit, please? Yeah.
Absolutely. High performance is a lifestyle. And I could end the conversation right there. Because yeah, I mean, you have so many people, so many experts telling you how and why and blah, 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 blah. But you have to be action oriented. You got to get up every day with an intent, and with this mindset that I'm going to get stuff done. I know it's not going to be perfect. I don't have to have big wins every single day, but if I'm consistent with my behaviors and discipline towards this desired outcome, towards this desired lifestyle, that's where performance comes into play. The best people, the best players, the best CEOs, it doesn't matter their profession. They just go to work every single day with a dream, with a vision, and with a purpose. And so I told you guys the analogy before we press record is that it doesn't matter whether you're the CEO of a company or the guy picking up trash in the basement. Both can be extremely high performing.
Mm-hmm.
How they show up every single day, the intent they have, are they making those around them better and more productive? That's a high performer. So take the job title away, take the age away, take gender, whatever it may be. Let's focus on what they're doing every single day. Let's look at their behaviors, and let's look at how consistent they are with those behaviors.
I love what you said leading into this too, with your concept of micro wins. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Like, what's kind of a personal micro win, and especially being in such a team sport, how do you take that philosophy into like a rugby team?
Yeah. Another thing is we're so driven by metrics and outcomes, and in my world, it's wins and losses. But performance and success go so much further beyond that. If you look at an iceberg, you see the tip, small piece of an iceberg. Everything underneath is really, really the meat of it. So for a micro win for me is like, did I get up? Did I do my morning routine? Did I hydrate? Did I sleep well? Did I journal? Did I watch my film? Did I check in with mom and dad? Did I call a family or friend every single day, which was a goal I set out January 1st because I wanted to continue growing my connections and my relationships. It's just these small things during my day. And the way I track it is I have this notebook. And so every Sunday evening, I write out my schedule for the week. I need to do X amount of high balls, X amount of tackling drills, X amount of passing. So then during the week, I'm just checking them off. Boom, that's a small win. That's a small win. That's a small win. And so by the end of the week, I'm not guessing if I'm prepared. I know I did all the work. And so by the weekend, Saturdays, game days, typically in my world of rugby, that gives me the confidence to just go express myself. And so it's just a combination in combining all these micro wins that ultimately allows me to perform at the highest level.
I love
You
it.
know, yeah,
I'm going to take some of that advice.
Yeah, micro wins transfer in what you're doing in sport transfers so clearly and simply into the business world.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and this is, I think, why when an athlete has gone through being very focused on the micro through your time and tenure through sport, that as you move outside of sport and into that business world, if you keep going down that path and using those processes and systems you've created for yourself into your next life, into that next life, oh my gosh, this is why so many of you guys become amazing CEOs, board directors, company directors, leaders of industry, because you're able to always bring it back to saying, well, hang on, have I really hit each button? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What have I missed? And you're coming back to basics, right? I love it.
That's
I
really
think
what
it's
it's
so
about.
important.
Yep.
And sports
Yeah.
is such a brilliant way of giving immediate feedback.
Yeah.
I know if I'm performing well. And most people, when they're performing well, they don't continue asking questions. They don't continue finding gaps in their performance. And so I've learned from some of the best, Blaine Scully's one of them, Michael, is that
Yeah.
even when it's going well, even when the team is performing at a high level, you're winning games, things feel like they're clicking. It's like, hold on, this is no time to get off the gas. This is almost when we need to keep pushing further and finding ways that we can even improve even more. So, kind of quote that I like to tell people is like, impatient with the inputs, patient with the outputs. I'm impatient day to day with what I do, but I'm patient knowing it. I'm in it for the long haul. It's a
There
journey.
you
It's
go.
a process, and I'm not going to rush anything.
Wow. Christian, how do you think about particularly like there's just so much application in the business world, setting that North Star, setting that goal, the way you're thinking about tracking and pacing is brilliant. But for organizations, individuals, when they say, this is where I'm looking to get to, or that discovery moment, how do you approach that?
I would ask them if they know why they're trying to get there. That's the first thing. Um, People with purpose, with direction, teams with direction and a purpose, they seem to succeed at a higher level than most. Um, I visited the New England Patriots last year. I spent 2 days. I met everyone from Bill Belichick all the way down to equipment, to people strapping ankles, to people washing clothes. And it just felt like everybody, their North Star was winning a Super Bowl. And hey, you look at the past decade, past 15 years of that organization, how many they've won, the level of success. It's because the people there understand why. They understand what they're doing. And that's where I'd start with approaching a company or approaching, an organization. People is figuring out, well, do they know why they're doing what they're doing?
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's, we talk about the why, and there have been people out there that have, based their speaking schedules on talking about, well, what is your why? Working out what your why is. And I've got to say that when you bring in the context of bringing in the New England Patriots and the fact that everyone from, doesn't matter what position they play, this comes back to, whether you, whatever position or job you have in the marketplace out there in the workforce, high performance and focus around mindset, everybody on that team and in that organization is on the same page. They all know their why. That's
Yep.
brilliant.
Yep.
That is brilliant. And how can you not achieve, right? How can you not achieve amazing results for the fact that you're all driving forward together? Sure, you're going to have your
Absolutely.
ups and downs, right? We all do. But you come back to it. The other thing that I love, the fact that what you do in sport, and this is what you said, you get feedback very quickly on your performance, right? I mean, it's true. Whether it's from the fans on the sideline yelling and screaming
The
at you,
media.
the
Yeah.
media, and we live in such a day and age that, as Pat mentioned before, around social media and everything else, it's like, whoa, it's 24/7. It's like there's 48 hours in a 24-hour day,
Yeah.
right? There's that much information being pushed out at you, right? Like literally at you. And so I think what's this makes sense to me now why also, you know, ex high performing athletes make great, you know, business people, executives, leaders, is because they deal with those issues around communication quickly,
Yep.
right? They give feedback quickly. They don't want things to drag on.
No.
You deal with things head on, right?
You
You
have
know,
to.
and that enables then the team to move forward more quickly and
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, especially when you're playing sport at a high level, and for me, it's mostly at like the international stage where there's press and there's a lot more opinions than I'm used to. You get good at failing. People always ask me, dude, how are you so confident to fail? Like, you seem so cool and level headed when you get it wrong. It's like, dude, I've failed thousands of times. And it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. And so you just understand, number one, it's temporary. And number two, you just use failure as data. It's data on your journey. It's data that gives immediate feedback, and it's data that drives better decisions next time. And then that just breeds more confidence. And the best players I know in any sport, yeah, there's a high level of skill. You know, their technical and tactical level is so superior, but they're just confident and they're so level headed and they're so self aware.
Yeah, that awareness is really bred from that confidence, from those data points. So, knowing you've covered a couple of sports, knowing like rugby is the heart and soul, what is it like watching other professional sports? Like, how do you immerse yourself in those experiences? What's just because I think a lot in business too, people are like, oh, my competitor did this or another company did that. There's so much noise. So, like, what advice do you have for being both a collaborator, thinking through your own sport, thinking through the industry at large? Would love to know.
Thinking about other players in other sports, I think I just kind of see what they're going through from a more unique lens than the average person. You know, it's funny about sports is how many people have opinions. And I just sit back and I'm like, first of all, you have no idea what that person's going through. Right. And I feel bad for a lot of professional athletes because the media, Facebook, all these keyboard warriors, they just scrutinize people. And then they also attack people's character. And that's something I don't appreciate because you don't know what that guy's going through. You don't know if his wife or her husband or their kids are going through something. It's like, so I think I have a better appreciation just seeing it from a different lens, interacting with athletes on a day-to-day basis and getting to hear how their life's going. But I watch athletes differently. You know, when they're in grooves, I try to figure out why. Like how are they doing that? How are they performing at such a high level? What are they doing differently than their counterparts? And I just ask questions. And I'm privileged to be able to have a network with so many different and unique athletes where I can ask them. But I think if you can just study the people that do it well, you know, history repeats itself. Continue finding, you know, similarities between all the people that you want to be like. There's going to be gold nuggets in there that you can implement into your life. So I don't know if I answered your question well. If you want to clarify something else,
No.
hit me. But
No, please, that was a brilliant approach to life. And even just that lens that you're thinking about it with that empathy, you're thinking about it from that, there's always more to the story. And even in all these platforms that claim you get the story right away, you're just getting a slice of a moment of a perspective of a camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant.
So, Christian, you know, you're in this incredible moment and stage in your life. Things are all coming at you very quickly, and you've got a few balls in the air and all going very well. how does the next stage or the upcoming stages look for you? What are your plans and dreams?
Yeah, no, I mean, loaded question. If you
Yeah,
asked me that 18 months ago, I wouldn't know.
yeah,
I really wouldn't know, because at that point, rugby was kind of my identity, and I wanted to start a platform, the Chase. I wanted to start building my network. I wanted to start exploring life outside of the game, because I was fearful that the transition would be turbulent. So I was like, no, I can't wait. I got to start. And I told myself for so long I wanted to get into content. I wanted to get into sharing stories. And finally I was like, yeah, I just got to take one step. I got to
Yeah.
get one episode out. I got to reach out to one person, make a plan. And I did. And it was just this catalyst. This It kickstarted such a big wave that I'm riding right now, and the wave continues to get bigger. The doors continue to open in the network. I mean, just sitting down with you, Pat, you, Michael, is such a privilege, and it's so cool that the people that I once aspired to be like, or the people that I once looked up to, are now in my phone, and I can give them a call if I ever need anything. And so now it's like, I don't know exactly what's in store in the next 5 years. I know that I have a unique opportunity through sport to share a message, to inspire the next generation, and to build a brand that I can be proud of. And I know that rugby is not my entire life right now. It's part of my life. It's something that I'm going to give everything I have into it while I'm healthy, while I'm young, while I'm able to. I mean, I travel the world playing a sport, getting paid to do so. It's so cool, and I'm so fortunate. But it's also such a good opportunity for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I know so many athletes who don't take advantage of their time playing sports. And there's a lot of podcast hosts, right, who are retired athletes. And I was like, no, I don't want to be that. I want to be the biggest podcast host that's currently an athlete. You know, that's one of my goals. I want to set myself apart. And all I want to do now is build a community of like-minded individuals who are trying to do great things, who are trying to change the world, who are trying to help other people, who are trying to, revolutionize, whether it be sports or marketing or whatever industry it is, just these pioneers ready to make change in the world.
Brilliant.
fantastic.
And
Well, I'm in.
yeah, we're signed up, and actually, Christian, for I know that we're doing a crossover moment. So for everyone, Talent Without Limits, listening through, Christian, what's the best way to follow the Chase across all platforms?
Yeah, I mean, you got Spotify, you got Apple Podcasts, The Chase, you have Instagram, Christian J. Dyer. Just that's where I'm at right now. Hopefully one day there's events, there's networking events, there's community driven events that we, The Chase,
Oh yeah,
Ultimate
we're
Lake,
in. We're doing that.
can get together and just
It's on.
because I think people, they have such an appreciation for community, and I think COVID kind of put a damper on that. We lost that connection. And I think it's individuals like you guys in your group and individuals like me with platforms to almost revitalize that human connection and make people feel welcome and empowered, and help them connect with people like us, because all we're trying to do here, and I know you guys as well, are just creating win-win relationships. There's so many people that it's all transactional, and that's not the people that I want to put in my circle.
Yeah, there's nothing more transformational than looking in a stand and seeing the diversity of experience and life, but that shared passion for the sport, for the team, for the cause, for the city. It resonates, and it's
pretty
real.
cool, isn't it?
Yeah, and like that isolation, like watching alone, is finally seeing things come back together. Like I live in New York City, just seeing the subway, seeing places and spaces that are not glamorous, but they're just a slice of a moment of life of a bunch of people who all have a dream and a goal. And things like that are really what propel us forward to care about one another. And like you see an entire train full of people go into Yankee Stadium, Met Stadium, wherever they're going, same jersey, same team, same goal, coming from so many different slices of a day. It's that moment of celebration, of camaraderie, of just togetherness. And thank you and all of the athletes that make those experiences of bonding possible.
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, it's such a special thing, and you could just feel the energy when you get in a group like that. And if you, with your strengths, can help somebody, complement their weaknesses, that's pretty special.
Spot on. Spot on.
Awesome.
Well, guys, I want to thank you both for sharing this time with me. Christian, the chase, outstanding.
Thank you.
Patrick,
Thank
talent
you.
without limits. Thank you.
G'day.
Just had to throw that one in.
Oh yeah, Christian, what's your Australian accent like?
My Australian, geez. Give me something to say and I'll go for it.
Well, just say, "G'day, mate. How you going?"
Hi, g'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
passes.
look,
That's good.
that's
That'll
not
work.
too bad. I've got to say. Look, yeah. Well, I just can't wait till we all catch up and watch you play a game of rugby. As you know, I'm a major rugby tragic and
Yeah.
love the game, and never miss a game. So can't wait to see you live, mate. But thank you again.
No, thanks for having me, guys. This is brilliant, and what you guys are doing is incredible and inspiring, and continue to change the world.
You too.